Hey guys, welcome to day 8, and don't forget, this whole week, no elevators, no escalators, no people movers. It's all about the stairs. And the reason why I emphasized it so much yesterday, and that's why I'm going to be pushing it every single day this week, is that I want you to get used to finding these emergency exits. It's such a simple thing, but if you really discover where they are, it makes a dramatic difference in how well you're able to evacuate, shelter in place, and lockdown. It is a great tool, and I'm so surprised that people don't try to learn where those exits are because they're already there for you and they're available for you. So let's maximize them. And that's why this whole week you're going to be using those stairs every single day at the gym, at work, at school, at home. It's going to be really, really important as you go through your daily life. But welcome to day 8. This is the second day of the second pocket. So today we're talking about the psychological element, and when I talk about this is about the near-term stuff psychologically. So today I'm not sure that there will be a whole lot of objects to add, but there may be a couple, and so we're going to talk about each one of them. So the main thing here in the near term, and when I talk about the near term, I'm talking about the days after a disaster goes on, because one of the things that occurs all the time in disasters is boredom starts to set in. And when boredom starts to set in, people begin to get depressed because they start thinking about what's happened, what's going to happen, and it's that thinking they start to spiral out of control. And I say to them, stop, we're going to get you focused. Before we do that, I want to talk to you about a mentality I want you to keep as you're doing this. So when I want you to think about outside agencies, I want you to think of them, instead of thinking they're going to be there every time, I want you to think of them like ice cream. So what do I mean by that? Well, when I was a little boy, I loved ice cream. In fact, I still love ice cream to this very day. I have to be careful so I don't pack on the pounds, but I absolutely love ice cream. And when I was a little kid, I loved it as well. And I used to ask my mom every night, and my mom and dad, I used to say, can I have ice cream tonight? I ate the dinner. Can we have dessert? And as my brother and I got a little older, my parents stopped offering us ice cream every night. And so I remember the first night they did that, and I turned to my mother and I said, hey, why aren't we getting ice cream tonight? And she said, there's something that you're forgetting about ice cream. It's nice, but not necessary. That is the philosophy I want you to keep whenever you are dealing with a disaster agency. Whenever you think to yourself, this organization is going to do this for me, they're going to give me these things, I want you to assume that they're not going to be there, but if they are, that's nice, but they're not necessary. So that's a psychological position I want you to keep yourself in. Okay, so let's talk about some objects to put into your disaster kit. Well, a lot of these things are kind of interesting because these are items I want you to put into your disaster backpack. I want you to put something, again, about the size of your hand. It could be a little larger than that, but something that can be easily carried, something that will entertain you for the days after a disaster. You're in a hotel room, you're in a strange location, something like that. For example, if you're a bibliophile like me, in other words, you love to read, keep a book in there. A book that you've read before that you like. So, and always have a book light. Everybody knows my favorite book, my favorite novel is Jurassic Park. I believe it is the greatest disaster preparedness book of all time. It's a really fascinating book. I have that in my disaster backpack. If you are a teenager and let's say you don't like to read very much, you're not really into the book thing, that's fine too. So what I want you to do is take your Nintendo Switch, you heard me, take it and put that in your disaster kit. You don't have to put it in now, right? But put it in later when you're about to evacuate from the disaster. I want you to put that Nintendo Switch into your backpack. But one of the things I want you to do though is right now I want you to prep it, because when you get the backpack I want to make sure you have room for it. So make sure you have, if it's a Nintendo Switch, make sure you have games for it. You know what I mean? If you're an adult and if you have something that particularly entertains you, you have a tablet where you have a lot of books on there, you like to look at things, you like to read things, maybe you have a little games, whatever. Anything you have, put that into your backpack, because that's something that you can rely on to break up the boredom. Boredom in the near term is a very, very big deal. So I want you to think about that as you are thinking about what's going to be happening next, because you need to take time away from yourself. Otherwise, you will get overwhelmed. It happens all the time. And I want you to take breaks. You need to take days away. You can't let the disaster completely take over your life. So I want you to find something that is going to entertain yourself, something that's fun, something that takes you away from things. I want it to be what I call escapist entertainment. So a game system, a book, tablet, something that you can keep committed in that backpack, not all over the place, but something goes in that backpack you can always rely on. Keep yourself into that place. Because when we're thinking about agencies and things, when we're thinking about what's going to happen next, it's so important for us to maintain that focus. Because again, evacuating and sheltering in place and locking down may need to be done over and over and over again, and that can be very distressing. That backpack needs to remain the one thing that will always, always keep you centered. This is Disaster Patrick, and remember, prepare for a disaster, and you'll never experience one.